Episode 1 of the third season of The Mandalorian has finally dropped on Disney+, so here are my thoughts on it. Hello everybody, my name is Jesse and welcome to Film Talks, the channel where I love to talk about all things movies and TV. The first episode of Season 3 of The Mandalorian has finally dropped on Disney+, so today I'm going to give you my review on this premiere episode. And I'll just start off with kind of my overall general review. I thought this was a really solid season premiere, but I definitely thought it was the weakest season premiere of all three seasons so far. I thought it was really good. It set things up very well. At the end of this episode, you know exactly where this season is going. You know the character's main mission on this season. You know all the different things that are going to kind of go down in this season. So I think it set everything up really well. But there's no wow factor with this episode. There's nothing that makes you go, there's no gasping, there's nothing that makes you, whoa, I didn't see that coming, that's crazy. There's none of that in this episode, and I think that's the one thing that was kind of disappointing to me in this episode, is there was nothing super surprising or wowing. The episode just ends, and you're like, that's it? That's how we're gonna end? That's what happens? So, you know, that was kind of disappointing to me, but at the same time, it's not really that big of a deal because I like the way they set things up in this episode, and I like that this episode was kind of more of just a setup for what's to come in the rest of the season, because this episode got me excited for what's to come in the rest of the season. So I thought it was a really good first episode. You got everything in this episode that you want to get from a Mandalorian episode. You get some cool action sequences. You get a bunch of really cute Grogu moments, and overall I thought it was a really good start to the season. So getting into specifics, this episode picks up right where the Book of Boba Fett left off. Din Djarin has admitted to removing his helmet before, so he is no longer considered a Mandalorian, and the only way that he can redeem himself and truly become a Mandalorian again is by bathing in the living waters of the mines under Mandalore. Pretty sure that's how they described it. And so that's basically the Mandalorian's main mission in this season, is to find those living waters, bathe in them, so he can truly become a Mandalorian again. So to do that, he's going to need some help along the way, of course. So he's basically, in this episode, they do a recap of the confrontation that Mandalorian had with the Armorer in Episode 5 of the Book of Boba Fett. For people that didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, basically, the Armorer tells him that he's no longer considered Mandalorian, that the only way he can redeem himself is to go to these waters and find these waters. So they basically do a recap of that confrontation in Episode 5 of Book of Boba Fett. And then Mandalorian and Grogu travel to this planet called Navarro, and they meet. We see two familiar faces in this episode, Greef Karga and IG-11. So he meets with Greef Karga, who is now High Magistrate of the planet, and it's been confirmed by Jon Favreau that quite a lot of time has passed between Season 1 of Mandalorian and now. So really for us, it's been 2 or 3 years, but for them, it's probably been 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years, between Season 1 of Mandalorian and Season 3 of Mandalorian. So quite a lot has happened. We see that this planet, Greef Karga, has kind of made this, civilization, sort of. Navarro has grown quite a bit. And so we meet up with him, and he played quite a big role in both seasons of Mandalorian. And then they've built a statue to kind of commemorate IG-11 because he sacrificed his life at the end of episode 1 in season 1. No, not episode 1. Episode 8 in season 1. And so they built a statue to kind of commemorate him. And we learned that his parts were able to be salvaged and saved. So they have his parts, and Mandalorian, Din Djarin, I guess, needs IG-11's help to get him to the living waters, to where he needs to go. And that's kind of the second thing they set up in this episode. Something is wrong with IG-11. They try and power him up, and something's not right with his memory circuit. He kind of went back to his original programming, which, if you remember, his original programming was to kill the child and kill Mandalorian. So we get this kind of creepy, like, he's got no legs, so he's kind of just this body crawling on the ground. So it's kind of a creepy moment, and so they have to shut him down. And they don't explicitly say the name of the creature. The Anzellans are what the creatures are called. They start working on him, and they say that something's wrong with his memory circuit. He needs a new memory chip, or I don't remember exactly what he needs, but he needs something to kind of put his memory back where it needs to be so that he can help Mandalorian. And the creature working with it is like, it's pretty hard to find this part, and I can't do it, whatever. So Mandalorian goes, okay, what if I find the part? Creature goes, yeah, if you can find the part and get it to me, I can fix IG-11. So that is kind of the Mandalorian side quest in this season, is finding that part, getting it to the creatures so they can fix IG-11. So, yeah, I like the way that they set that up as well. So, in this episode, like I said at the beginning with my general review, you get a lot of good action not a lot, we get like 2 or 3 main action sequences in this episode. The first is at the beginning. We see the armorer making a new helmet for this kid that's going to become a Mandalorian, and before he can finish his oath that he can never take off his helmet, this like creature, I don't know what it's called. It looks like a crocodile mixed with 3 other things. I don't know exactly what it is. But this huge creature comes out of the water, and Mandalorians are fighting it off, trying to fight it off, and people are getting like stepped on, thrown by the creature. You know, it's the same kind of Mandalorian action that we've known for however many years the show's been going on. And at the very last second, you see this ship come in and stop the creature, and it's revealed that it is Mandalorian and Grogu. So that's our introduction to this episode. We see the armor making this helmet, this kid is giving his oath, and then this creature comes out, and Mandalorian has to save the day. And then that's when Mandalorian and the armor have their confrontation, their recap of episode 5, like I said earlier, where it sets up Mandalorian's mission in this episode. And then just one other action sequence. I don't remember the second one. I don't think it's been a couple days since I've seen the episode. But the main action sequence in this episode is you have these pirates. Ignore my dog in the background. Sorry about that. You have these pirates chasing Mandalorian through space, and they're going through this asteroid field, and it's a pretty good action sequence. Mandalorian is kind of flying through all these asteroids. He's shooting at other ships, and so it like I said, you get some good action in this episode. Yeah. And at the very end of the episode, the last scene in the episode, Mandalorian Din Djarin goes and goes to talk with Bo-Katan, who was in season 2 of Mandalorian. And she is still quite upset that she didn't end up with the Darksaber at the end of season 2 of Mandalorian, because she wanted to kill Moff Gideon, get the Darksaber, so that she could lead this army into Mandalore and kind of take over Mandalore, I believe, and Mandalorian instead, or Din Djarin instead got the Darksaber. He beat Moff Gideon in hand-to-hand combat, so he got the Darksaber. He still has it, and so yeah, Din Djarin's like, aren't you gonna? What about your plans to overtake Mandalore? Bo-Katan says, my army left me because I don't have the Darksaber. That's why she needed the Darksaber, so she could lead this army. But her army won't listen to her anymore because she doesn't have the Darksaber. So Bo-Katan just goes, why don't you lead them? You still have the Darksaber. You lead the army. You do it. And then the episode just kind of ends. And I do think Bo-Katan may be planning something. I don't know exactly what she's planning, but I do think she's up to something. So I don't think we've seen the end of her in this season yet at all. Those are my thoughts on episode 1 of The Mandalorian. I thought this was a really good introduction to the season. I thought it was a really good starting episode. What were your thoughts on this episode? Let me know down in the comments below. Are you excited for season 3 of The Mandalorian? Let me know down in the comments below. And until next time, like this video, subscribe to my channel so you never miss another one of my videos. Share this video with your friends and family, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.